But yeah, in the secular world in particular, again, I'll just repeat again that if you run into situations of discrimination, stand up. Stand up, because silence only allows these problems to continue.
Can I have a question? Is it good when you see something wrong and you stand up to fight for the right? Is that good habit?
Yes, I think that's a good habit. As long as when you stand up and say, this is wrong, this needs to stop, as long as you do that without anger. Because if the people who are trying to do good things go about it in the wrong way, that's not so good.
Because this is my character. Because when I know that I am right, I'm not afraid of anybody. Yeah, it's true.
Fearless, okay, that's good.
Like today, because it's all deception, otherwise I will bring you a letter from, I wrote to Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because one day Arnold Schwarzenegger charged people who receive welfare, Medicare and cash food stamp, that the country, California is in budget crisis because we pay so much for those people and those people are frauding. So, of course it's partly true, but I disagree. So I wrote to Arnold Schwarzenegger a long letter, and I CC the war supervisor. And in 2008, I said that you said that poor people are frauding, but it's comparing the amount that are frauding, comparing to those who are cheating, like Bernard Madoff. At that time, was big scandal of Bernard Madoff. It's comparing with those amounts is nothing. So it doesn't mean that only poor people are frauding. Rich people that even more greedy, when with the amount that they are cheating is hundreds times more than that. So I wrote to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Long letter. I don't have it here. I still have it.
Fearlessness is a good thing. Fearlessness is a good thing.
Yeah. So I CC the war supervisor and they take my side. They are good listeners. They take my side.
Good. That's good. Thank you. So are there questions today? Yes.
About the eight worldly concern. Look at the pleasure, suffering, and pride and blame, and fragment of obscurity, and the gain and loss. I think that's the emptiness of the things. If we think about emptiness of this, the eight worldly concern, that's the attitude, that's change or what?
Oh yes, so looking at these eight worldly concerns with an attitude of emptiness, that's definitely a way to go about it. I was talking about impermanence a little bit in this teaching today, but definitely these things are empty of any real ability. This would be a good way to think of it. These things are empty of any real ability, that is the positive ones on the left and the negative, and avoiding the negative ones on the right. That is empty of any ability to give us enlightenment, real, lasting, perfect happiness, and a complete end to suffering. So yes, they're empty. Yes, absolutely. Other questions? Yes.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned how the Buddha would approach things. Like you said, oh, if he got curry rice, he would have something, and you said, oh, he saw sunset, his reaction would be something, and he said, oh, he wouldn't say, oh, curry rice, or oh, sunset. So what would be the proper reaction to have towards things like in general like that, if you want to become fully enlightened?
Well, I'm sure the Buddha, when he was in his physical body, as the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, there were tastes that were pleasurable and tastes that were not. And the Buddha could look at a sunset and know that it was beautiful. But what a Buddha would not do is be attached to it. That's what a Buddha would not do. So if you burned a Buddha, the Buddha would still feel pain. But it's the layers of mental activity that we put on top of those experiences that a Buddha doesn't do. So if a Buddha got burned, he wouldn't, jump up off of his meditation seat and say, "You bleep, bleep, bleep. How did you do that? I'm going to beat you up and knock your teeth out." A Buddha wouldn't do that. Okay, this is kind of an extreme reaction. So Buddhas can still experience pleasure, and they can see, they understand comfort and pain and all of that. But it's the attachment that they don't have. So that's what we need to work on. So if we see a beautiful sunset and then we go, oh, but I don't want to leave this place ever, ever, ever. And then later on, we're like, I just want to go back and be in that sunset. I don't want to be where I am right now. That's what a Buddha would not do. So it's the attachment that we need to try and cut out. So it's fine to look at a sunset and say, oh, this is wonderful. But when you turn your back to walk away from the sunset, completely walk away. Does that make sense? Yes. That's a good question, though. Thank you. Yes?
I think during the summertime, the retreat summer here at the Our Temple, and I happened to see a couple of pictures that the new bhikkhu and bhikkhuni were ordained.
Mm-hmm. The new ordination.
Mm-hmm. And they got a ceremony that kind of had the incense burning on their head.
Yes.
What the purpose for doing it? Because I saw one of the nuns. Really, she was in pain, and I just wanted to say, oh my gosh, I just could. I can see it as two of the monks very calm, but then one of them is really, she tried to hold on herself so hard that I just couldn't handle it. But I just wonder what the purpose.
Okay.
I see not all the monks or nuns had it, but some.
Yeah, I don't. Interestingly, I don't have any of these burn marks. So the question was about when monks and nuns were ordained, the burn marks, the burning of incense on the head. Some traditions do it on the arm. I think in Korea they do it on the arm. This is East Asian Buddhist tradition. It does not come from the time of the Buddha. It probably started in China and then spread to Korea and to Vietnam. They don't do it in Japan anymore, to my knowledge. I've never seen a Japanese Buddhist priest with these burn marks on them. And I'm not sure, I'm blanking right now. Is that from the bhikshu, bhikshuni ordination ceremony, or is that for the bodhisattva vows for monks and nuns? The bhikshu, bhikshuni ordination, okay. I'm not sure why they do it. Actually, there are probably different explanations in different traditions. I'll ask to get a clear answer to see why the Vietnamese monks and nuns do it at least, and I'll ask some of the other monastics at school. But I never saw the purpose in destroying and if you burn yourself like that, you're actually putting yourself at greater risk for skin cancer. That's what I've been told, so I've never done it. I'm not sure why they do that.
I asked one of the nuns who were ordained that day, and she gave me just because I asked what's the name of the ceremony, and she said that to honor the Buddha. And I thought, well, why? Why are you burning yourself? Why are you
hurting yourself? Right.
By doing it that way.
I don't understand it either. But I'll ask Most Venerable Vinli what the specific purpose is of burning the body. One of them, the two young Vietnamese Australian monks, Bao Tuệ, the taller one, I saw him later in weeks following that, and he, did the 3 burn marks, and one of them got swollen and black, and just looked really, really bad. Yeah, I don't do it. I don't recommend it personally, but it's a tradition in East Asian Buddhism. Some parts of East Asian Buddhism.
That is called tradition.
Yeah, it's tradition.
Become the Dai Đức,
Yeah.
Star have to do it.
Yeah, I think it's a way of showing that you're serious about taking the ordination. You're willing to go through this pain to do the ordination. For me, when I did my bhikshu ordination here at the temple, I was even a little bit heavier than I am now, and so sitting on my legs like this was extremely painful. For some reason, I used to sit like this all the time when I was a kid. For hours, I would just sit and watch television, no problem. But then I was skinny as this table leg here. So for whatever reason, I couldn't sit like this for a long time, probably because I had gained too much weight. But I had to sit like this through part of the ceremony. My whole body was shaking. I was in so much pain. I was sweating because of the pain. It wasn't well, it was a little warm that day too. It was the Buddha's birthday, the same day as the Buddha's birthday celebration. And I was sitting right about here, facing that direction. My whole body was shaking from the pain, and I thought, I'm not going to make it. And then they said, okay, stand up. And I was like, that was painful enough. I didn't need to burn my body to do some sort of physical penance. But yeah, it's not a practice that I would do personally.
I think that's the way it's very hard. The body is suffer. But you just do like this in forever. Doesn't just like this doesn't hurt at all. But that kind is
That's how I was just sitting,
not longer.
with my toes pointed back. Yeah.
Not longer.
Yeah. There's another temple that I go to sometimes down in Anaheim, and we're doing a long prayer. It's sort of like the long refuge prayer we do at the beginning of our services. But when we go down and we bow, and then we have to sit like this on our toes, like this for a while where we're chanting, and some lines of the chant are rather long and it goes pretty slow. And so finally, during a retreat, we were doing this a lot, and my feet just hurt all the time. And so finally I asked the abbot, I said, can we please, when we're doing the prayer, can we sit like this and then just go like this when we have to stand up? And he said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. We all went, oh, thank you. So, yeah. Anyway.
That is the way practice too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way that's not very hard.
Yeah.
You have to practice.
We did 108 bows on this weekend retreat. This was just the retreat that I went to a few weeks ago. And I thought, 108 bows, no problem, because I've done it here before. And a few years ago, when I first became a monk, I went into retreat and was doing the Tibetan-style prostrations. I averaged 1,000 a day, which by Tibetan standards that's nothing. So don't be impressed with that. But 1,000 a day, I can do 108. Because here at the temple, when we're doing them, we're able to use our hands a little bit more. I see the way the other monks are bowing. So when they go down, they don't go down on their knees and then down and then up and then only use their legs to stand. We push ourselves a little bit. The same thing with the Tibetan prostrations. A lot of it is upper body strength. So you're distributing the stress over your whole body, and you're also not landing on your knees, especially with the Tibetan ones. You're not landing on your knees. You're not supposed to put your knees down first in the Tibetan tradition. So, yeah, protect your knees. Well, we had a pad at this temple, but when we were doing the bowing, we would stand up and then go straight down, only using our legs on our knees, and then put our hands down and bow, and then come back up, and then stand straight up using only our legs. We couldn't use our hands at all. I almost didn't make it. The other 3 people in this doing this practice with me, one is in the military and does physical training almost every day. Another one is a tennis instructor, and the other one's a yoga teacher. I'm really not in that good a shape. But I was the one keeping rhythm, so they were like standing up while I was still, I was using this bamboo rhythm keeping thing like a cane by the end to push myself up. I thought my back was going to give out. It wasn't so much my legs, it was my back was the problem. I need to get into shape. Anyway, okay. So are there any more questions? No? Okay, let's do meditation.